Don't you dare. You go to work. You tend the farms. Don't you dare. Keep away. Keep away. No. No. That's... You... Listen. You said you didn't want to eat poop. That will kill you. Alright? I want you... No. No. I have a gift to you. A big gift. And now, I want you to go to sleep. No! Good boy! No! You put that down! Stop! No! It's gonna kill you! It's gonna kill you! No! Damn it. Humans are really funny. We pack bond so quickly to such random things that it really doesn't take much. If people pack bond with Roombas by putting eyes on them, like, it doesn't take much to bond with an object or a thing that doesn't exist. It's really funny. So all it really takes is a story, a character development that made the person playing it fall in love with that character a little bit. Not really, but like going like, this guy rocks. The next time they play that game, they're gonna try to make sure they don't send that guy out for dangerous situations. They'll play around not getting that character killed. 100%. And I think that itself is really interesting. In the deepest secret, cause you're knowing the unctures in such in medicines. Oh, gotcha. I hope you know I do not trade any more words than strictly needful when we make the trip in the damn world for gasoline and electricals and other such necessities that we can't make. I've got something friendly with the publican boy who sells the pills Papa needs, and when I mentioned them as study aids, the boy laughed and said a body didn't need penicillin for studying, unless a body was studying gash. Have you heard of such things? I do not want Papa to ask Papa for fear I do not know what, but I do not want to accidentally poison him either. Please come see me. John, you're a fucking dumbass. You're a dumb ass. The one that I made up? It's probably not gonna work. Oh! It works! It works! Finally! We did it! It only took 2.5 hours. Actually, more than 2.5 hours. We've been trying to get this done for weeks. Damn! But we did it! Look, it clicks! Boop, boop, boop. When it's not on it, nothing happens. Oh, hold on. Nothing happens. And then we click it, it did it. And you know what the answer was? You know what the fucking answer was? Hello everybody. How are y'all doing today? Hopefully pretty well. Got me some water, just finished eating some food. So I'm ready to get things started. It's all y'all arguing in the comments. Is it really that important to be first? Is it really? I never understood it.
Man. But yeah, welcome. Today we're going to be doing some... yeah. Okay. You know what? I'm not here to judge y'all, so... You have a million ideas for me, huh, Dark King? Okay. Excellent. Well, I'm looking forward to hear them. Because today we're going to be tackling a certainly more in my opinion, interesting topic, which is making systems. Specifically, the system of how we're going to have the imposters or mimics or whatever we're going to end up calling these things, and how they spread throughout the town. What kind of logic do we want them to have? At what rate do we want them to spread? Do we want them to spread depending on your actions? Do you want it to be time-based? Do you want it to be hyper-predictable or hyper-unpredictable, right? And if we're going to make sure that these things are going to be, or you're going to be the last one alive, how do we do that in the code? How are we going to make that happen? All right. So that's what we'll be tackling today. And I hope y'all are as excited as I am. Oh, actually, you know what? First things first. We met our follower goal. So thank y'all for that. We are still climbing. And that's so good. Also, I apologize for whatever reason. YouTube did not want to download the VOD from yesterday. I don't know why. It's still downloading. It's been downloading for like 12 hours. I don't understand what's the problem. But hopefully that will be done by the time this stream is over. So y'all are more than welcome to watch that once that pops up. And I think that's pretty much everything that I can think of. So we can go ahead and get started, you know? And plus it's Friday. I don't know if it's the case for y'all, but it is a beautiful Friday where I'm at. So hopefully y'all are enjoying your day so far. All right. So what we have going on is, let's go ahead and pull up last call, because I believe I have already started working on the imposter system, even though I shouldn't have. Let's see, is this still, no, this one we're gonna have, there we go. What if villagers killed themselves because someone dear to them died? I can see that. It's because we haven't necessarily fully fleshed out how we want people to respond surviving an attack. That could be one of the outcomes. The outcome is they end up dying. It is sad. It is saddening, Bearman. However, it is also kind of realistic in the sense of how people respond to overwhelming dread. And when you lose someone really precious to you and you don't know if you're going to make it through the night, and you saw what they do to the things that when they get you, some people might turn to that outcome. I certainly don't want that to be the only response that they have, because at that point it's like, I wouldn't want to save them because they're just going to, that's how they're going to respond. But to have some people more, that's how they would respond to it, I think is pretty interesting. And okay, and this brings up another question we can think of. I agree. I think life is worth fighting for when it comes to that kind of stuff, where even if there's a chance for you to survive the night, you don't make that decision. So you and I are on the same side there, Bearman. But just because we feel that way doesn't mean that other people would, right? But the question then comes up is, with the variability of the people in this game, do we want it to be random that they make that decision? Or do we want it so that the personality, it's kind of tied to the personality traits of that individual, in which in that case it's basically, do we want replayability where it could be random, or do we want to make it so you can plan and work around it strategically to have certain, that you know that certain people will react very negatively to the situation, versus people like when people are against a wall, when they're driven into a corner, there are people who become weaker for it, and there are people who get stronger from it. And to kind of have that in their personality trait, where it's like, these people, if we save them, they're not going to make it through the night, versus these people are going to make it through the night, not stronger than ever. And then, well, granted, they're not, because that's not we're going to decide the game. But like from their point of view, they're going to get through the night, and they're going to be stronger for it. But, or do we want it so it's all random? So it's like, you just have to take the gamble that the person you're saving will be strong and not take, I wouldn't say the easy way out, because that's a very poor taste way of putting it. From removing themselves from the problem, from the situation, right? Maybe we can make a villager that has a dog, and if the dog died, they wouldn't do it, but if they have enough relationship points, then you can comfort them. I don't plan on doing any kind of relationship points progress. That we're moving from a strategy horror to like a dating sim when we get to that level. We're throwing in mechanics of just like, I'm not calling 911 to build a relationship. You know what I mean? Maybe you have 2 separate modes for both ideas. Yeah, maybe. That's an interesting way of putting it, Bearman. Like maybe we can. Oh, by the way, are you all fine with me calling you Dark King and Bearman, or do you have a different preference as far as how you want me to address you? Gosh, something in my throat. Isn't there a dating horror game where you like flirt with eldritch horrors that look like MILFs? Right? Isn't there? I could have sworn. Dark is fine. Okay. All right, Dark King, I'll call you Dark, and Bearman, I'll call you Bearman. All right. I'm thinking about installing a there is a thing that you can, an extension for Twitch, which would allow you to choose how I see you. So you can change, like, you would change your username. Yeah, there is. Yeah, there is. What was it called? It was like horror dating sim. What was it called? It was called something. Sadistic horror. No. What's your name? Homes and Bridges, which is Lake of Voices? No. None of those. This was relatively recent. Oh, I mean, technically Doki Doki Literature Club. Technically. It is, in fact, a horror dating sim. That's actually up there. Sucker for Love, First Date. That's the one I was looking for. It's me. Here, I'll allow it. Boop. And boop. There you go. It's the auto mod. It's the one where if they flag, you know, certain words, then they'll hold it up for me to approve of. So that it's an automatic Twitch thing. And I mean, for the most part, it hasn't been like, it's been flagging things that doesn't need to. Like, I think one time it did one of the names, the octopus in Cult of the Lamb, the shipwright dude, it flagged his name, which was really funny. But no, it was Sucker for Love. This is what I was thinking of. It was you date eldritch horrors, but they're, human shaped. If you guys want me to play that, I will. But like, when I think of horror dating sims, that's what I think. Okay, there's probably two different ones, right? There's dating sims with horror attributes, and then there is a horror game with dating sim attributes. So Sucker for Love is a dating sim with horror attributes, aka it's mostly dating sim, but it has some like horror like seasoning. And then Doki Doki Literature Club is a horror game, but it is dressed up like it's a dating sim. Yeah, exactly. So what we're making, what we're making is a horror strategy. We're not making a dating sim, so there's not going to be any kind of like relationship building or anything, and any kind of relationships are just organic. It's not necessarily a mechanic. It is just an organic growth of you learning more about the people in the game. And as you play the game more, the more you get to know them, but not in the sense of like, oh, the game, you progress their story. It's like, no, it's just the natural randomness of people's decisions, as well as the randomness of the directions of the spread will allow certain characters to reach the end versus others. Thus, you learn more and more about different people's stories. Being so thirsty for love that you summon demons. Have you ever met a person? Human beings do so much more for so much less. Oh man, that is, you could tell me that's a real thing that people do, where it's just like, not even once, don't summon demons so you don't get the dommy mommy. And then and it's just like, yeah, no, of course people would do that. Of course people would do that. There's no doubt in my mind that people would do that. Not even a hesitation. Like, of course they would. I wouldn't, but I'm not them. There are a few things humanity will do that will surprise me. But what we have made, decisions that we have made so far for the imposter system is that we start on the top left house. The player will get a call from that location as an introduction to the imposter system. Always tier 1. Always super easy to flag, right? Yeah. Isn't that Cleopatra? I'm not super great with history, but isn't that a big part of it with Cleopatra? I could be 100% wrong, but maybe. And then so they'll get a call from the house from the top left. It's always a tier 1. It's really easy to flag. So then that's kind of the introduction / pseudo tutorial of, hey, things are going to get weird from here on out. And then the spread will be a chance based on proximity that is more likely for it to happen at closer locations versus farther locations. And the chance varies depending on the difficulty of the thing. So we also need to kind of make a decision based on how we want the difficulty curve to go and how we want it to adapt and adjust accordingly, right? Because as the game goes on, you want it to be harder, but we also want to keep the player on their toes and not let them get comfortable in the sense of like, oh, we don't run into tier 1s or tier 2s anymore. We always have like really hard ones. We don't have super easy ones. And when you have constantly difficult ones, that can get very mentally draining. So we need to add variability while still being like following the curve of difficulty over time, right? The difficulties will be variable between 3 tiers. where it's like tier 1 through 3, 2 through 4, and 3 through 5, and then eventually narrowing down where you only have 5. And then the additional imposters are added at higher difficulty spreads as the game goes on. So that's kind of where I'm thinking where the variability can be put in, where you essentially have like one thing. So maybe I'm getting ahead of myself in the sense of what the heck do I mean by tiers? What the heck do I mean by this? And it is... Which section is that in? No. Where was it? It wasn't scripts, imposters, tutorial, coworkers. Where'd I put that damn thing up in here? It wasn't accessibility, map to keep an eye on, demo. Nope. I don't know where it is. Where did it go? I know I have it. No. We could name these tiers like tier 1 is named partial encounter. Well, the tiers are specifically with... Oh, hold on. I think it's here. Nope, it's not. I'm just lying, apparently. Difficulty tiers are how easy it is to tell if the person on the other end is a mimic or not. Tier 1 is, it's super obvious. Like super obvious. And then tier 5 is like, you have to know like lore in game to know if the person's lying or not. Like, it might as well just be another person pretending to, like, stolen identity level thing. Where did I put it? Because I definitely have it. I wrote it down because it was perfect. I don't say it's perfect, but it's pretty amazing. Here's the map. It's not in accessibility. I thought I put it in interaction, but I guess I didn't. Coworkers. This is where we talked about the different coworkers and when they leave and what they're talking about. In many of these, could you explain what the mimics are you're talking about? Sure, Bearman. So the way this game is that there are these monsters that have always taken advantage of human social interactions. So these things are the reason why, if you look at missing people reports, at least in the United States, where if you looked at a map that overlapped cave systems with missing people, there's a lot of overlap where people go missing near caves. And it's also the explanation why there's this lore and legends and myths and old wives' tales not trusting hearing disembodied voices in the forest, in the wilderness. And these monsters mimic the sound of people to try to get other people to them and then kill them. So the way that they work is that they stalk somebody, learn how they talk, learn why they talk, and get as much information as possible. Then they ambush and kill them. And then they take what they've learned and try to get as many people to that location as they can, except for the last person. When they deem as like the last person, they don't ambush and kill them, but instead stalk them to that new location, and then the cycle continues. So this town is being attacked by these things. You don't, as a player, you don't know how many there are. You don't know where they came from. The story in the story is that you, the main character, got into an accident and you survived. And then you're returning to work after a long time, after being in the hospital, and this thing followed you, the main character, to this town. And when the person who helped you into the building, who I haven't decided if it's going to be a family member or a partner, someone close to the main character, brings them into, their work because they're in a wheelchair. They drive home to where their house is. They die and get taken over. But this mimic takes their spot. And then what the mimics are now trying to do is they're trying to call 911 so that you, the player, think the other person on the other line is like hurt and need help, but it's not an actual person. So you send what you would deem as the appropriate kind of emergency personnel for that situation, only for them to be ambushed and killed. And if you do know that these are mimics, then there is you do it slightly differently. Like as of right now, I think you add an additional cop is the way I'm doing it, where it's like so it requires one policeman. It's like, well, now because I think it's a mimic, you send 2 policemen. And the reason that this is valuable is because you only have a certain amount of vehicles, so you can't just do it for every single situation, because then you'll run out of policemen. And then another situation will come up where you need policemen and you don't have any to send. So you have a limit. So it's kind of like a resource management horror game in a way. Like the kind of strategy is you're sussing out the person on the other end and then managing resources accordingly. Does that answer your question, Bearman? Is that pretty straightforward? If it's confusing, please let me know. Because if it's confusing for you who, are being introduced to the topic, then I need to simplify it. Okay, so we have that. Then we have the tutorial. Oh, the tutorial is... we were trying to think. Good, I'm glad. The tutorial is basically just what you would get at normal training in a 911 operator. Granted, I wouldn't know, but what I'm assuming is like, okay, this is where you send policemen, this is where you send ambulances, this is where you send fire trucks, off you go. But then I considered, like, what if, like, you had needed to send, like, a combination of them where there's, like, arson or a riot or things of that nature, but it got too complicated and I was like, never mind. Gosh. Oh, right here. Perfect. Yes. I just need to scroll down in the imposter system. I'm so stupid. All right. So here are the tiers. This is the tiers. Tier 1 through 5 from difficulty. Tier 1, which it goes simple, it goes super easy to super hard. Tier 1 is it's a consistency check. Is the voice being consistent? If the voice sounds like it's not sticking to the right pitch the entire time they talk, it's a mimic. And it's really easy to flag that as long as you can hear them. Then, tier 2 is understanding. It's where the voice is consistent, but the understanding of the sentence structure doesn't make any sense. So they're parroting like sentences, but they're just shoving sentences together, where it's just like, I need help, good night, I feel sleepy, like that kind of thing, where it's like it's consistent, but those two things don't fit well together. So they didn't quite understand why they were talking. And then that's also a mimic. And then tier 3 is pronunciation, where the sentence structure is correct and the voice is correct, but they're mispronouncing words in a way that doesn't really, like, they didn't quite get it. It's kind of like they saw it read. Pronunciation is really the one where I'm like, I'm going to add a question mark pronunciation. That was one of the ones that was recommended by somebody, and I am having second thoughts with it. Then the next one is context. Context is everything seems to be on the up and up, but what they're saying doesn't really make sense in the context of the situation. So like, they're like, oh, sorry, I just got back from getting a suntan and it's 2:00 in the morning. It's like, why would you try to get a suntan at 2:00 in the morning? Like, it's things like that where it's like, what they're saying makes sense, but like the situation does not call for what they're saying. So they didn't quite grasp the nuance of what they just said. And then the final difficult one is a knowledge check. This is one where everything is on the up and up, but they messed up on a particular part of information that only you would know if you knew about that person's background. And the way that the player would be able to get this information is I plan on utilizing a lot of red herring calls. So red herring calls are essentially 911 calls where there isn't really an emergency, or the emergency does also give you that information. Like maybe there is a kid who's choking on like a piece of food or something. So it's like, cool, we know they have a kid, right? But I also have like a stereotypical rambling grandma who calls 911 just to like spill the tea about their neighbors. And for the most part, it takes up very important limited time to listen to her ramblings of what's going on with Stacy next door when there are other people who are dying on the line. So people would most likely assume, like, get her off the line as soon as possible. But listening to her ramblings gives you vital information that is utilized as a knowledge check later in the game. So you either need to listen to it or you need to know about it for the knowledge checks to go through, right? And an example of a knowledge check is like, oh my god, please send someone. They've broken in, and my son is like in the closet, and he's really scared. Please, I'm in the closet with my son, and you know for a fact that they don't have a son. They have a daughter. And it's like, aha, I caught you. But you wouldn't know that. Everything seems on the up and up unless you knew that they didn't have a son, right? Or they've been trying to have a son and they haven't been able to conceive one. And you know that because the rambling grandma called like three effing times. And that does kind of add, though I would like to avoid it as much as I can. I am not a huge fan, or at least we need to be aware of the fact that the more consistent the information is, the more that people, once they know that information, doesn't matter if it's the first time they played or the 8th, or like by like the 5th or 6th or 7th time they played, it makes the game a lot easier, right? Because you don't need to listen to Rambling Grandma anymore, because you already heard all of her explanations. You have all the tea. So you don't need to listen to those kind of conversations or those red herrings, because you already know. You're good to go. Or I've pulled up the wiki or something along the lines of that, where I've made the game a lot easier, and I don't need to find that kind of information because I've already been exposed to that information before, right? So we also need to decide if we're going to make it consistent for the knowledge, like if the people are going to be consistent per run. Do we want to have more of a replayability mindset where it's random and it's not applied to a person? Or do we want it more as a strategy / realistic mindset where the people's personalities is rigid? It's these people in these houses have these personalities every single run, right? And I'm not 100% sure how we want to address that, especially in the sense that horror games, I'll go ahead and switch this so I stop blinding y'all. Horror games also have a very similar curve to strategy games, which is not something that you would necessarily like to have. You feel like it should be consistent and realistic? That's also the direction that I'm leaning on it. Oh, looks like there's an ad break happening, so I'll wait. Unless neither of you got it. If neither of you got it, then we could just keep going. For those that didn't get it, how are you doing today? Hopefully well. You prefer random? See, that's the thing. Well, we could do both. We could do maybe 2 modes. Story and endless. Something like that. It's difficult to say. All right. Okay. Ad break is over. So I saw that you both had, different preferences, which is completely understandable and fine. Everyone's going to have differences in that. So I was thinking, it's like, well, maybe something that was actually one of y'all mentioned earlier, where what if there was just different modes? What if we had like an endless mode where it is random, and then like a story mode where it's finite. It's consistent. Maybe I think that this game would benefit with a endless mode where you just try to last as long as possible in a random thing where you would still have to get all that information, but it's fresh every time. And because it's fresh every time, you don't know if anyone has kids for certain different things. It's just randomized. But I don't know. But as I was mentioning before the ad break, where strategy and horror have a very particular curve, and what I mean by curve, I mean there's a aspect as far as the amount of time exposed to something. I feel like making it consistent makes the games you've played before matter. It'll give you a sensation of progress and make you feel smart. Right, but in doing so, it by giving you empowerment, by making you feel smart, it hinders the effect of the horror making you feel exposed. Right? So it's difficult. We need to balance this in a way. That's why there isn't a lot of horror strategy games. Because they are actually, in a lot of ways, antagonistic of each other. And by kind of going back to the curve thing. So by curve, I mean there is a good amount of difficulty in the beginning in strategy. But as you learn the mechanics and you learn how to go things, over time it gets easier and easier and easier. Strategy is built that way by design. It is meant to be difficult at first, easier later as you learn, and then you have the feeling of fulfillment for accomplishing your goal as you get better and better at the strategy. And in horror, the first exposure of the situation, intenseness of it, is more prominent in the beginning, and then as time goes on, you acclimate to the horror, and it becomes less scary, and then you essentially become numb to it, right? It's why most of the best instances of horror, and what most horror movies try to do at the very least, is give you variants of like you need tense and release. If it's constantly tense, you'll get acclimated and then you just won't be effective anymore. You need that tense and release in order to keep it going, and that's the reason. So both of these have a very upfront like feel to it that then die later. And you usually don't want something when you combine different kind of like feelings of games. Like, it's why I like to try to include awe or humor in horror games to kind of keep that in a good way. But it's difficult, you know? I feel like there's no helping, so split it into story mode and endless mode. I mean, that might be the answer. That might be the answer, Dark. Hey, X-Star, how you doing? But it's something where maybe we could space it out, where there is the horror and then strategy, but they're not trying to do it at the same time. Or, because I already know, for at least with horror, you want to space it out with different things that relieve the tension. So humor, moments of like just an exhale where you're just like, whew, okay, we're okay. Like that feeling of safety. Gotta go. All right, have a good one, Dark. Thanks for joining. But it's something that we will need to address. Can you tell me how you got the bones kind of temple in the Cult of Land? I think after I beat the third boss, I want to say. Have you unlocked Sin yet? You don't get the temple variants until you unlock Sin, and then you need I think it was like we got it at like 10 bones. I mean 10 sin, where you need 2, then 4, then 6, then 8, then 10. Once that, whatever amount of sin that is, that's what you need in order to unlock it. So it doesn't pop up until you unlock sin. I remember now. I'm sorry. I was seeing all the videos of me though. Did you end up sacrificing me? But I don't know. Just keep on getting sin, I guess, or maybe it came up after we beat the bosses. Did you beat all the bosses? Did you beat the one who waits? Because at the very least, I think, I don't know. Did you build the sin things like the drums and the tent? So I'm not 100% sure. All I know is that I just played the game and it came out around the time I unlocked sin. I don't remember what exactly made that happen. It just kind of did. So I'm not sure. Maybe if you looked in the VOD, because the VOD is up, you can go see if maybe you can find the moment where I got it and then check it out. Because at this point, I don't remember. At this point, it was like probably 3 or 4 weeks ago. Or it certainly feels that way. But yeah, so the endless mode, well, let's see here. Let's see, what should we potentially do? Development, accessibility. Consider endless and story mode. It would make, so I would like to try to avoid as many situations where we're not doing like the minimum viable product kind of deal. But that's kind of one of those things where if we do it right, making those 2 modes might not be that amount of difficulty, right? No. What did you end up unlocking? Was it the leaf? Was it the naked? Was the maid dress? Oh, of course it was. Of course it was. I remember someone talking about, maybe it was you, where you were gonna put the one who waits in it or something. I want to say. But yes. So the way that we were planning on it, okay, maybe I'm getting too ahead of myself. We need to focus more on the imposter system in general. How do we want this to spread in a way where it would allow the movement of it to go through while guaranteeing you're the last one? So right, so this is our map, right? This is where it spreads, and we want it to kind of go through the map, but we don't want it to be inconsistent. No, I can't think of a better, like, I'm switching between imposter, mimic, doppelganger. If we want to go to like the more recent stuff, alternates. Like it's the things that make it sound like you but aren't you and pretending to be you. But I've been varying, unfortunately, when it comes to, I haven't chosen a all of them mean the same thing in a way. They have different inclination. I don't think I'm going with imposter, because then anything anyone's gonna think of is Among Us the entire time they play the game, and I refuse to have this be like, oh, Among Us every single time. That's gonna rip people out of it so bad. Among Us ruined the word imposter, I swear to God. Anyway, so top left, this is where it always starts. You get a call. You go like, oh, it's like, oh, we're getting a call. Answer the call. Come back, and you're like, oh, the person on the other end is really weird and obvious of not being a real person, and then that's there, and it is person that you, the main character, would know. Abugus. Hey, if you're going to the bathroom, American, and you come out of the bathroom, American, what are you inside of the bathroom? I'm assuming you're gonna say European. Am I wrong? Did I get it? Because the word P is in the name. And also, you know, I'm in my 30s. I guess is the best way to put it. On your way, you're going to pee in? I don't know. Welcome, Dark King. Or sorry, Dark. How are you doing? You're Russian. Oh, okay. See, that part I didn't know. You got me on that one. So we're gonna take on the top left, but we don't want it to be consistent. So what we could do is just be like, oh, these are linked to these houses, right? The asterisk stream was not very eventful. What was going on over there? I don't think I've seen Asterisk. I don't even know. I think you know who you're talking about. But more than likely, it's someone super famous that I should be made aware of. But I'm not, because I'm not a stream watcher. As a streamer, I'm not a stream watcher, which is crazy. I made it to day 100. Awesome. Good job, X-Star. I think we only made it to like, we're on 130 right now, so you caught up real quick. Esther's the reason I downloaded Twitch. Got you. What do they do? I'm assuming gaming stuff. But we will do. So yeah, we have a couple options that we can do, and I already kind of addressed it in the sense of like chances of moving, but maybe we should revisit, right? So one option is that every house and location has a designated other location that they're attached to. And then it's a chance that it would go through that. So you would have these three here, and it's like 30%, 33%, 33%, 33%, right? And then it's like, cool, it's this house, but it's connected to that house, that house, that house, and that house. And then it checks to see if any of these houses have been taken, and if so, it removes it from the chance, and then it has an increased chance of any of these houses, and then go for that way, and then that way, and then it just continues on. But I think that makes it really predictable, because if we have this, and then you get a call from like over here, and it's like, oh, and it sounds a bit suspicious, but you're just like, but they're way over here. They would not go all the way over here. So I'm just going to automatically assume that this is not a thing I need to worry about, when sometimes it is. Like, that's where the assumption of there's only one of these things, I want to play on that, because there won't be. But at what point it becomes more than one, and how many more than one, I want to remain ambiguous as much as possible. Since I play on Switch, I don't have that Twitch option, so anyone wants to join, they can just message me on Discord. Hell yeah. Yep, Shadow War and other games, but also he makes a lot of bets predictions, which I love so much. Interesting. I saw the predictions tab. I honestly have no idea what that is. So what is predictions? As you learn from game design from me, Doc, I shall learn from you what predictions are. I shall predict that you will tell me. Sorry, that's stupid. So that's one way, where we have to go in and manually make it so that every single location is linked to a specific other location in the entire map, and then it's just random. Or we make it so that it's a proximity chance. So you have up here, so then it's like a 60% chance it could be one of these, or it could be a 30% chance it could be any of these, and then like a 10% chance it could be any of these, right? And then it just skips. houses, or it just goes to a different location that's like far away, and you're like, what the hell? Why is it way over there? And it's because it knows that you're trying to track it, so it's trying to make it so it's harder to be tracked. You make a bet, and then chat can bet with their points. The winning side gets the points of the other side. Oh. Okay. So like, oh, so when because I think one of the only streamers that I watch a couple of streamers, but mostly on the YouTube side, like Ray Nevaez Jr., whereas like who's going to join the call first and stuff like that. Or I've seen bets where people are like, who's gonna win like Mario Party or something like that, and then they're like, okay, so whoever won that bet gets the points. Got it. Is it bad that I move my followers of sin? Because basically what I do is, hey, do you want some sin? Too bad, you have it, and then I do it another person, and then another person, take it all out of them, then after that I end up with 5 sin. I mean, you can, but they're probably gonna like get sucked down to hell, and then you're gonna have to deal with that on your runs. You run your cult the way you want to, X-Star. We all have our own ways of running a cult. That's certainly not the dodo way, I'll tell you that much. But the benefits, so every time so they don't get overwhelmed with it, well, that's good at least. To be honest, I should be focusing more on the sin stuff anyway, as I currently am. So you're probably doing a better job on that side than I am. So the benefit of doing the chance of it happening is then I don't have to manually make everything linked up together. It makes it less predictable, but that also means it makes it difficult to have it so that they are getting all the houses on the way down, right? So like the way that I want it is that by the time they get down here, everything is taken. Nothing is not taken. Everyone is dead except you. That's how I want to go about it. So even if the chain, it makes it difficult, right? Stream specifically in Knucklebones. Oh, that's true. We could do Knucklebone betting. All right, go for it, X-Star. But then again, the chain also has that problem too, but I feel like it's an easier solution. Where it's like, oh, it goes here, then here, then here, then here, then here. And then it goes up that way, and then up that way, right? Versus like, it's a chance, so then it goes here, and then here, and then here, and then here, and then here. And you're like, bro, what is this spread? That makes no sense. Granted, we can make it like, especially in the very beginning, it's almost like it's 90% anyone close and then one further, because we were going to make it so that the smarter they are, the more likely they're going to try to avoid and be as consistent as you think they are, right? That was my mindset with it, is that these things would get smarter over time because they're learning. You are dealing with mostly one for most of the game, for the most part. And the difficulty of what you would run into, it wouldn't vary all too much because you're only dealing with one the entire time. It would make no sense that you would go super hard and then super easy when you're dealing with the same one. It doesn't make any logical sense. You got Leshy as a cult follower. Cool. Awesome, X-Star. Congrats. And then, but how would we even code that? How would we code, I want you to fill everything but this bottom right? Also gave me the quest of getting his eyeball. Oh, sweet. I honestly like the little quest that you get for defeating them a second time, and the fact that you get them as followers is really cool. I like it. I mean, we guess we could code it so it was just like, well, maybe we're thinking it in a different way. Maybe it's more of it's creating paths, and it's the houses and locations that increase likelihoods. So like, what if it's like almost like loading? He don't like his eyeball. Where it's like, okay, this goes up, this is at 100%. Everything else is like 0%. But everything closer, this one gathers the percentage up faster. Like the ones closer to it gathers it faster. And once it hits 100%, then the game chooses that location. So it's almost like it's loading up to 100%. But if you're way over here, and there's one over here that reached 100%, then I don't think it should go all the way from here to there. It would have to move its way back. I mean, we could... So, the easy way of doing this is I draw a curve, and I'm just like, pew, like that. And then now it's going to do things around that curve the entire time. And then I would make another curve where it's just like, whoa, like that. And then now it's following that curve. And I just make like 5 or 6 curves. And then it just gets everything within that curve. The problem with that is that makes it really predictable. And then people are going to be like, especially if they're trying to like speedrun this, where they're like, oh, this is the S curve. The S curve is, yeah, I know, right? This is the S curve. The S curve is the worst one. We're restarting, and then you get the next curve where it's like it's an in curve, and you're like, ooh, the in curve is the fastest, so this is a good run. And people are trying to get a specific curve that's been pre-programmed because they've now are aware that their curve is pre-programmed versus just a random chance. But speedrunners don't like random chance. They really don't. The more random, the less they like. Because you want the ability to manipulate without the restriction of, oh, but hope I got lucky, because that's frustrating as hell. Which is why I want to aim somewhere in the middle. I don't want to make it hyper predictable where it gets boring. And I don't want to make it random enough where if people are trying to get things done, they can't go around it. And this is why we have a whole dedicated day, Dark, to do this specifically, to figure out how we want to approach this. Like legit pretty much 4 hours of just trying to like find what we would feel is the best way to move forward, code it, try it, see how it feels, see how y'all think of it, how do y'all feel about it, and then move on to like the phone interaction of actually making the correct decision versus wrong decision, kind of tweaking the speed of things, that kind of thing. But we need... Okay. Usually my best ideas come from the fact of putting from the perspective, hey, Piranha Plants, how you doing? Hopefully well. We're currently designing the mimic spread in the game currently. So, good. Glad you're doing all right, my guy. So, think of it realistically. If this were to happen and there's these monsters and they want to go from house to house, if they're dumb, they would just go to the nearest house, right? They did their work, they go to the nearest house, right? I'm doing pretty well. Thank you for asking. I have a little bit of a headache. I don't know if it's because I keep on staying up too late, or not. but I don't know. I just woke up with a bit of a headache today. But I have my water. I had food. I'm talking about interesting topics with y'all as far as game design. Honestly, I'm pretty solid right now. I'm pretty good. Plus, it's a Friday. Ooh, thank you for the bits. Nice. Appreciate you, Piranha. Well, I guess my day just got a little better, especially with the nice amount of points there. You're always so generous, and I appreciate that, Piranha. Know that I appreciate it. But I'm so excited to make y'all stuff to spend like channel points and bits and all that other good shit. Can't wait. I think y'all are gonna like what I have in store for y'all. But it's gonna y'all are so supportive. It's gonna take a while. Oh man. But yeah. I got distracted by generosity. A good kind of generosity. A great distraction. You just want the #1 spot on all the things, aren't you? See, now you're getting crazy with it, Piranha. Did you not send 169? Why are you confused by your own bits? Okay. Oh no, you keep distracting me. We're not gonna get done to game dev. The fleece kind of makes your damage 10 times but half the heart, basically one shot everything in Darkwood. Yeah. I tried that one out and I got through like half a level and died. I was like, maybe not for me. But then you gotta play it on hard, so. Oh man, y'all, listen, maybe I should have like a bits thing where it's like the more you give Piranha. Piranha, my guy. Come on, man. There's gonna be like a timer, and the more bits, the more it's just like you're not allowed to work on your game. It just starts a timer more and more the more bits you give. It's like, well, you better get on a tangent, because well, thank you. I very much appreciate it. I guess I'm gonna have to say nice every time because the 69 is anything. Oh yeah, the subathon timer. Yeah, kind of like that. I think if I was gonna do a subathon, it would probably be, that feels like a birthday thing, doesn't it? That feels like an anniversary thing where it's like, let's do a subathon with it. No ad breaks. Well, not that Piranha is seeing ads. If you don't want to see ads, then you too can sub. Make it never end. No, Piranha. Please. It's like, you better be sleeping on the damn floor. You better put up. By the way, real talk, I have a giant beanbag chair next to my streaming setup. So it would be like, you better be sleeping on that damn chair. Wait, hold on. Real question for people streamers who have done subathons. Do they leave their mic like not muted when they sleep? So you hear them snore? Because I snore. So my first thing would be like, oh no, I need a mute because they're just gonna watch me snore. It's 50-50. Gotcha. Just hear me mumble in my sleep. Hear me talk about all my deep dark secrets as I dream. For IRL, yes. Gotcha. No, like that's subathons are kind of one of those things where I don't know. I definitely would be Satisfactory would definitely be one of them for me that I would play a lot of, because that's a game that I could play forever and not be a problem with it. We would I think after a while we'd just be like, let's watch videos. Let's just watch videos together and react to like all of the like different horror videos on YouTube or something, or like just go through them all. Watch the back rooms, which one of the there was a new backroom video that came out relatively recently, which I watched, which was really, really cool. But yeah, no, very much appreciate it, Piranha. React any stream. For real. For actually, like, I try to avoid that kind of stuff because I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of like making content off of other people's content. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth. But I think if as long as it's done properly, where it's like, please give this person support, please like go subscribe to them, watch this video in your own like monitor and stuff at the same time, so we don't take away views, then it's less icky. But you know, I also think of like situations where we could be streaming and then one of y'all is just like, hey, this new video came out literally just now, let's react to it. And then I'll be like, damn, we got to do that. We got to do that like right now. I cannot wait. But yeah, no. I very much appreciate your generosity as always, Piranha. You have always been supportive. I was gonna say, like, for the most part, I think 7 out of the 8 subs, I want to say. It was either 7 or 6. Because I think you subbed and then you gifted 5. So we're almost at the sub mark, mostly because of you. For real. Like, actually. Throwing his money around. Yeah. So 6 out of the 8 is you. So take pride in that. And I still need to, I plan on having the vote in the Discord. Are you in the Discord, Piranha? The vote in the Discord and on YouTube for when we meet our sub goal, what game we're going to play. And then every time we meet the sub goal, we're going to make a new, do another vote to see what the next one is. Yeah. It's in the socials. If you go into the socials, there's Discord there. And that's where I announce like most of my things. That's where I announce when I go live. I also have a Twitter or X or whatever the heck you want to call it, that I also announce on there. And I've been trying to do it on YouTube as well for posts. So try my best, but I would say Discord is the biggest one. Yeah, please join up, Piranha, especially if you're giving me money. You definitely deserve your place in the Discord. So I think eventually I'll have like a sub only section in the Discord and stuff like that, but since that literally started a week ago, I haven't set anything up for that yet, so we'll see. I guess you're called Twitter Star 20. Oh, right, that's funny. Look, I haven't. X is not a thing for like the first thing my brain goes to. All right, my brain also still thinks it's Twitter, even though I know that's not technically the case. It's X. But yeah, y'all are so distracting, I swear. Especially you, Piranha. You and your bits. As generous as you may be. X Twitter. Yeah, you know my X Twitter. Right. We're trying to figure out imposter spread, right? So thinking about it realistically, these things, if they're dumb, they're just gonna go to the closest thing. They don't care. They're just like boop, 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 and they just chain it, right? But then as you kick them out more and more, they're gonna see the pattern that you're following, right? All right, Dark. See you in a sec. So but yeah, they're gonna see your pattern and they're gonna try to go against it. Not X was a better name than Twitter. I can name one person who did. I can think of at least one person who did. Oh man. And then they'll try to juke you that way. But then, well, maybe we need to put more thought into what it means to chase them out. So in this game, you never get to kill them. These things don't die when you send the emergency personnel there, right? They essentially like run out of the house. The person inside the house lives. They are still a normal person, but the thing gets away every time. So before it was just kind of like, oh, they just leave, and then that's when they kind of go into a different house that's somewhat nearby or potentially far away, depending on the way we want to program this. But what if it's not? What if instead it's like they run in a straight line in a random direction and then they go into a different place? So let's say it was here, right? Hold on, if I move this up, it does get bigger. Before it didn't. Oh my god, look. That's a bug. Look at that bar. Well, we're gonna have to fix that. Just not now. That's a bug fix that we could. It's whatever. We'll figure that later. That's a cleanup. So let's say here, and then they run bug. And then they like run out here, and then now they will go here, 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 and here, right? And so they can just go up there, which does give a feeling of randomness, because when you're here, you don't think that's an option. You think it would be this, 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 or this. You wouldn't think this or this is an option. But because they ran here, now these two are an option. I kind of like it. What we could also do... Is it bad if I use? No. Doesn't he want you to use it? Like, it's a gift. Or it's like, so it goes here, and that makes it interesting. Or what if it went this way? What happens if it runs into another house? Would that mean that it would be more instantaneous? Would it be faster that something would happen? And do we want there to be quote-unquote travel time? How long between the calls do we want this to happen? Where this gets taken over, you save this house, this thing leaves. How long before the next call happens within this group of things in which you would get a call from? A minute? 30 seconds? If they go, let's say here, and this is an option, this is definitely closer to this. With the phone, it would take longer because it's farther away. Do we want there to be variability and then use that as a thing that people would be able to utilize, where it's like that was a longer call, so it went farther away? I think I want you to bring it to him. I accidentally somehow left on my Switch because trying to hit X and not question how I felt when they're on different controllers. Yeah. A god in the game where you play as for real. Chicken become crispy. Oh yeah, crispy chicken. So good. So good. Especially if you pan sear it. Oh. Like just a little bit of butter. Anyway, I'm getting hungry, even though I just ate. So, I think because I just love chicken. I wish they were treated better. I wish they weren't, going through what they're going through. But I do love chicken. Let's see. To answer my own question, I don't think there should be variability on the calls incoming, aka there's no travel time. Whether it be from here, if it's here, all the way down here, it's the same speed. It's the same amount. Because if you make it longer, depending on the travel time, then people are going to clock that and then be like, okay, I'm going to use that bit of information as an additional bit of information to determine where they could have gone. Well, shit. That actually sounds kind of interesting. That has a bit of depth to it, doesn't it? Shit. That kind of making it so that the time of when the calls come is based on travel time, and then being like, this was a longer call. Because you're going to be dealing with multiple calls at the same time, right? And it gets more and more chaotic as the game moves on. The call system is a whole different other system that we need to make, I think, right after this one. I think we do imposter system and then, let's see, hold on. What was it? It was imposter spread, resource system, then phone system. Yeah, so we do resource system next. But we need to have it in mind as we make this. Should we be making the phone system first? Hope it's good, Dark. Yeah, you want to let meat cool off for, I think it's 10 minutes. I think it's half the amount of time that you cook it is like the rule of thumb. But what that allows it is it allows it to reabsorb its juices that it lost during the cooking process. Because essentially all the juices were kind of getting squeezed out, and now it's just kind of like just getting it back. So it really adds a lot of juice to it. And then no, I don't think the phone system is needed before the imposter system. We almost kind of have to make it we need to keep the phone system in mind as we make the imposter system, and then we make the phone system. Because the phone system, is it based off of the imposter? Wait, hold on. Did I end up flipping it? Which one is based off of which? Would the phone system be based off the imposters, or would the imposter be based off the phone? I think the imposter and phone system are essentially the same thing, now that I think about it. Shit. Because the spread of the imposters would be the same as the phone calls coming in. It's just the indicator of the thing spreading is the phone ringing. It's just the indicator. The phone system is just an indicator. It's literally just that. Yeah, that's what my brain feels like right now, Dart. So if it's the same thing, then the imposter system and the phone system are the same system. Okay. Then what about the other system? What about the resource system? The resource system is entirely different. We're fine with that. Okay, thank God. I was gonna say, if I'm just making 3 separate systems for the same effing thing, I'm gonna lose my mind. Okay. So we're making 2 systems at the same time. Fun. Okay. So we need spreading, and then we need timing. I want there to be, maybe we should go about like the way that we kind of, how do we want this to feel and go about it? You think it's important to do first, but how is the phone system going to be different than the imposter? Because the imposter system is how the imposters will spread from one house to another. The phone system is when an imposter arrives at a house, you receive a phone call, for the most part. So the phone system is just your phone is ringing when the people when they arrive there. It's literally just making it so that when they arrive at a house, you get a phone call. That's the system, which isn't really a system. That's an indicator. That is just a sound going off. It's the code telling the audio file play when the house gets broken into, and then essentially a timer pops up, because we also need to talk about that, by the way. How much time do you have? How much time do you have when a house is broken into by these things before your decision doesn't matter anymore because you took too long? And I remember thinking about this in the beginning. And don't worry, there is going to be an accessibility option that will allow you to turn off the time limitation to this. So if you hate timers for you to make important strategic decisions, you can turn that off in accessibility. So, but I don't, as far as like the core gameplay and planning and working around that, I do want there to be a feeling of urgency. Right? 3 to 5 minutes? That feels like such a long time to make a decision. I was thinking like 1 to 3 minutes. Like 3 at the latest. You like, why the time the phone call rings, or the time the phone call finished talking, you then have to digest the information given to you, then go over to the numpad, put in the resources, and then send them on their way, and then those resources need to get there. 3 to 5 minutes for all that is such a long time. Go for it, Xstar. Revive me, bring me back. It's more than I did for myself in my own cult. 3 to 5 minutes. I don't know. We'll have to test it. We'll have to feel it out. How we're gonna figure it out is we're gonna make the spread. We're gonna make the call situation, and then it's gonna say, like, literally, just to make it as easy as humanly possible, a thing will show up and it will say imposter or human. It will tell us the answer, and then we're going to set a timer, and then we're going to see how long it feels, as far as like what feels like too long or not long enough. Just gonna get rid of your fleece. No, you can go into customization and switch it so it looks different. And I don't know. But as far as the timing stuff, the amount of time it takes to save them, I think, is a resource system question. Yeah. For me, it's X. When you go to a fleece, you can hit a different button. Instead of selecting it, you can hit customize. And that's how I've been choosing the other dude. It took me a while to see it too. What? Yeah, that feels more like a resource thing, because the resource system is more or less how many resources we have that feels like enough resources, and how we want different situations to cost different resources to send. That's the resource system. The timing, the timing of how long it takes to be taken over is also part of the imposter system. Oh man, this is becoming bigger than I anticipated. Okay, it's fine. We're fine. It's good. I just have a headache. Okay. So what do we want? What do you want when you really, really want? What do you really want? What do you really, really want? I want to. I really, really, really want to. All right. Okay, so on the map, we have different paths. So we have this brown is a path, and I think there was a couple houses. I was thinking of a path between these two as well, but that's kind of irrelevant. The paths give the illusion that they're connected, but they're not. The fences give the illusion that they can't go there, but they can. I want to give red herrings on the map that makes people believe and assume protection when it's not there. Especially if it's an assumption that was quote unquote verified, where it's like, well, it didn't go there the first time, and it was only because of pure luck and not because of the fence. But what I do want are things, what I would call gateway locations, right? Gateway locations are essentially, as long as the gateway is not taken, it's a lot more difficult to get to. So over here, this is the quote unquote rich neighborhood of the town, where you have the school, a truck stop, a liquor store, and I honestly forget what this is. I honestly do not remember off the top of my head what this is. But you have these. If these are here, they can't really get in here very easily, like at all. So I want to have where it's like, oh, in order to get here, you want this. Like, this is the really big one. The reason I want the player to have 3 to 5 minutes is because my chicken took 3 to 5 minutes to cook. Dark. You can't base your timing conditions in game design based on how long to cook chicken. You know what? You probably could. You probably could. What am I saying? If I talk to some, like, I wanted to say actual game devs, let's say more experienced game devs, that's probably something that's kind of true. Where it's just like, yeah, we just did 3 minutes because that's how long it took me to heat up the lunch that day. And I was like, sure, why not? Let's give it a shot. And it worked. Sure, that's fine. As long as it's not NSFW, you can post what you want, pretty much. I might do, maybe put it in memes instead of general. I don't know. I might have a different section where it's just like, maybe I'll make like a cult of the lamb section for y'all, where it's like everything's cult of the lamb questions and pictures and stuff you could just post in there. That sounds pretty smart. Giving myself compliments. What's wrong with me? So like the idea that I had for this is that you really you think I have that set up, Dark? You think I have an exclamation Discord immediate thing? You fool! You dare! Really, I really should though. It's in the socials. Sorry, Dark. I really do need to set that up though for y'all. Maybe I'll do it because I think I have a streamer bot. I just haven't managed to get anything with it. All right. Just in the socials, the Discord link is in there, and you can just join up immediately through that way. If you don't see it, I think I can send you the link. Just let me know. All right. If you're saying that, let me check. You know what? If this better not be what I think it is, my guy. I don't know if I want to play that. Is this a cursed meme? X-Star. I see an open can of food. Oh, then what am I? Okay, all right. Oh, that's really funny. That's really funny, actually. Okay. I have been kind of traumatized when I see open cans of like tomato-based things. I immediately think of like, curse me. I apologize. I jumped to conclusion, XR. That's really funny. And I've also done similar things in the past. Don't you worry. All right. So with this, so this is the school. So the original plan of the school is you really didn't want to lose the school, because if you lost the school, they would have access to like all these houses. Like if you get here, you have access to these. This one will kind of give you a little bit of access of here, maybe up here, or this here, or this here. Like there's like a little bit of gateway in these locations. But the school, if this gets taken, it gets access to like this one, this one, this one, and this one. They get access to like 4 different houses, which is crazy. So you have these things like here as well, where it's like, this has access to all 3. This one only has access to 1, or maybe this one, where you have locations that are really important because their main purpose is that if they are lost, it gives the, mimics the like ample space. Like so many different options that now it's harder for you to keep track of, and they could all be potentially attacked. I wouldn't say all attacked at the same time, but things are going to get really problematic really quickly. I don't know how to use a can opener. Listen, some days just be like that, you know? So with that in mind, my original idea of as far as chance things happening doesn't make a whole lot of sense in the aspect of we want kind of like things to protect important locations. You have this, you have this. Like you have things where it's like they can go for like one house or one or another, but certain locations just do so much more. The hospital's also really big. It gives them access to like these 5 here. I also have thought of like different scenarios with different places, and we have an ad break, so we'll wait a little bit. Why isn't my warning going through anymore? I set it up on Twitch to be like, hey, give me a heads up like 1 minute before so I could warn people. And it's like, no, you don't get to do that no more. So who knows? Oy. This one's tough. How we want to go about this is kind of tough. We want it predictable, yet chaotic. We want it to be them to be smart with it, but not all locations are made the same. And there's a good chance I am overthinking this by a lot. There is a solid chance. At the end of the ravioli. I wouldn't say weird. I would say unusual. If anything, you're using every part of the animal. So it's definitely unusual. I wouldn't say weird, but I certainly wouldn't do it. Now you make me want to get ravioli. Because there are certain rules that we kind of want to put in place, maybe we don't want chance. Maybe we give the illusion of chance. Right? Because here's the thing. If we just make it proximity chance, y'all have been making me hungry. You're talking about chicken ravioli, dude. I love chicken and I love ravioli. So, granted, I Oh, you guys want to know one of my... Listen, when it comes to food, don't trust me with food. I'm weird with food, okay? I grew up on SpaghettiOs and meatballs from like 8 to like 24. For most of my life, I ate SpaghettiOs and meatballs. And what I would do is I would eat the meatballs, and then I would use the SpaghettiOs as chip dip. And I would alternate between Cool Ranch Doritos, Nacho Cheese Doritos, and either Lay's barbecue or Fritos barbecue. Fritos barbecue especially, and I don't mean like the new twisty ones. Those suck. I mean, it tastes pretty good, but it's horrible for dipping in SpaghettiOs. The regular barbecue Frito ones taste so good with SpaghettiOs and meatballs. So good. But I only eat them like on a rare occasion, because I'm pretty sure my body has now have rejected considerably rejected after eating a lifetime supply worth. It sounds weird, but it is very good. It is delicious. Not everyone agrees. My partner at the time, she hated the smell of SpaghettiOs. Like, the only way I could eat it is if she was gone. Do not mail me a can of ravioli. I'm gonna get so many questions, dog. But I will say I do have a P.O. box. I don't think I've made it like big knowledge yet to y'all yet. But I do have a P.O. box. So specifically for like to use for the business and or for y'all to send stuff to. The 5-star chicken I made. Ooh, nice. What did you do to it besides cook it to 3 to 5 minutes? Okay. Oh boy. Maybe today was the day I should have used my caffeinated drink. Now that I think about it. I was thinking yesterday, because yesterday are usually early days for me. I was like, man. But yesterday was actually pretty good. Now it's tough. Nothing really. Well, what seasonings did you use? I know I like salt, pepper, garlic powder, onion powder, and paprika. And black pepper, if I didn't mention that already. Ooh, and a little bit of red chili flakes. Give it a little spice. So good. I will say my biggest upgrade to my cooking journey is learning how to season. You'd be surprised what kind of foods taste pretty good once you actually know how to season them. And seasoning, which is crazy to me, by the way, for the most part, 0 calories. It makes food 1,000 times better. And it's like not a whole lot different than if you were to eat it plain, nutrition wise. Unless things like salt and like garlic salt and stuff like that. Was that 3K points, but I can already buy everything in the point shop. Well, that's because we decreased the cost on things, because some of the things on there were ridiculous. And like, I think most streamers have things like set up for you to constantly be spending your points on, and we just don't have that set up yet. So by the time I get stuff to you, you're all gonna have like a decent stockpile of points, because y'all were here early. Y'all were here supporting me when I didn't have like this stuff set up yet. So you're just gonna have a stockpile. But don't worry, I'll get y'all things to spend on. Don't worry. We have plans. We have ideas. But I think that might be the biggest spender of channel points that I can think of is 3 projects away, I want to say. The first project is going to give y'all, it's going to change the way the chat looks. It's going to give y'all, it's going to be new animations for the follow, sub, bits, etc. And it's going to, like the new, like, you know how streamers have those things where it's just like donate and rules and that kind of stuff, the custom stuff down there? It's going to have that. So that's the first project. And then the second project is emotes. To get all the emotes for y'all, to custom emotes for everyone. And then the third project is like something like that. I really want something like a soundboard or a point hole. Maybe even a special reward for 10k. What's a point hole? Do you mean just a hole to just throw your points into? Or is it a specific thing called a point hole? Because if it's a soundboard, I think we could potentially just do that. At the very least, we might... Well, I think text-to-speech is bits. I don't think it's channel points. What do other streamers usually do for channel point stuff? Because I have my own ideas, but that doesn't mean that I don't... There might be just better standard things that y'all are used to having with other streamers that I just don't have yet. Because depending on as it is, like, I want for a lot of the major changes in the stream to be lore relevant, which is why it takes a lot longer for me to implement them. Sorry, but also not sorry. But if it's more smaller things, like for instance, like this ridiculous thing on the bottom left corner, adding that or making new costumes for Momonodo, that I don't need that lore accurate. That's just fun stuff for us to do, right? Streamers do. I just want you to do the stuff that you want to do. I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to like divert my time and attention away from what I'm going to do. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And I think y'all are going to really like what I have planned. But I also know that there may be things that y'all are used to having and things that y'all really like having that may not need a lot of work on my end. Or it's basically the response of, bro, it's not that deep. Like the sound bits, like that. I don't think I need to have a lore reason why we have sound bits, because the sound bits wouldn't be lore relevant. They would be just here, life. You know what I mean? The text to speech will definitely be something we'll add later. I want to double check because I vaguely remember it, but I want to double check to see if the text to speech for Satisfactory I could have sworn was available to be utilized. But because if so, I'm definitely doing that one. I'll probably keep it relatively cheap, especially until people start spamming and ruining it. You would be good. You would be great. Who? You don't. No one really has to. I could be something that I literally look in the VODs, etc. for. But as far as like sound bits and stuff like that, where y'all like clip my sound bits, and then we can have like a system in there where y'all could be like, hey, maybe every like week or something like that, we would take a sound bit clip and make it as an official sound bit for the stream. And then it's just me saying not so, I wouldn't say not so great things, but you know, embarrassing things or relevant things, and then using that for channel points. That could be potential for it. Is a reward that when redeemed, it does nothing. It's usually just used to flex points. Oh. I don't know how I feel about it. I feel like y'all should be rewarded for your investment in this, for y'all being here. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, you flex points, but I guess maybe like an animation or something? Or maybe I'll put, because I do have leaderboards up, maybe I'll have a leaderboard for points, I guess, would be a point hole where it's like you would donate your channel points to be on top of the leaderboard, and that's what it would be for. I just found a ravioli that's fused together with another ravioli. Oh yeah, no, those are the good ones. That's a 2-for-1 special. But yeah, I mean, I did see some extensions for like sound stuff. We can give that a shot. This little thing where they have like little people on the bottom, and it's basically Twitch chat, so you can just have a bunch of little dodos. Well, here's the thing, X-Star. That was my original plan. You know what? Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Let's see. 1 second. I have something that you may like. I ended up having to move away from it, unfortunately. But let me show you. Boom. I was planning on making one for you. These are called stream avatars, by the way. I was making custom pixel art of little compies for y'all to use for stream avatars on the bottom. And I was going to animate them so they were going to walk around and like jump and all that other kind of stuff. And I liked it, but the manual making of the pixel art was so much. It was a lot. And then I was like, oh, there's a new like fighting pixel game that had a really interesting way of animating pixel art that was like free to use for your own stuff. So then I tried to learn how to do that, and then that became a problem. And then I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to do that properly and make the thing I'm making into that so then I can animate that easily. It was a whole thing. It was like a good 2 months of investment of just like, I don't think this is gonna work. Waste your points, you get added to the leaderboard, and if you stay first, you get a special reward. Maybe. Maybe we could do like a... So like, I'm not going to go into big detail with it because I don't want to spoil anything for y'all. But the different chat look is going to have customization with it. You're going to be able to change the way you are in it. So I guess it would make sense of what Toto fancy is this? It's pretty good, Starbeast. Like we are gonna, because you can customize your thing in chat. Essentially, like they're essentially new badges in the way they look, right? And so I guess if you are number 1 on channel points, maybe we can have something like the Golden Dodo or something, where if you spend the most channel points, if you're first on the leaderboard, that... How often do people usually do for like leaderboard stuff? Is it a week or is it like a month? A day doesn't feel right. That feels too much. But I also don't want y'all to think like, oh, I spent all my shit last week. A month? Okay. Because a week feels like you use all your points and now you can't do anything with it. You know? But yeah, no, I mean, we could do something like that where it's like, if we can have like a channel point leaderboard where you just throw your points in there, and whoever got first gets like a golden dodo badge or something. And we could just do that. I guess it could be like a good temporary solution while the project is in works to just throw that in there. Do you have street names? What? As in what? Who I'm called on the street? Like the OD original Dodo or something like that? What do you mean? Oh, for the game. Oh. No. I didn't even consider giving them street names. Because that's like, I would have associated that with us cleaning up the art assets and then really fleshing out this this map. No, actually, we would probably do it when we did caller ID for the phone. Then we would have made street names. So I haven't gotten to street names yet. Wow, you have some in mind? They have to be at least somewhat believable. I am putting that inclination in now. So if the idea is let's make it all dinosaurs, people aren't gonna believe that shit. As cool as that may be, on Tyrannosaurus Rex Avenue, Dodo Bird Drive. What can I do for you? Oh gosh. Oh. Dodo Bird Drive is pretty funny. Maybe we could do Dodo Drive. The last street that goes up here. Yeah, it's gonna be a minute. So what I will say about the project, I will put it, usually this is a discussion for Sundays, but it's fine, we haven't been having the discussions anyway. This project entails all the things I've listed, plus a lore video, and art associated with it. So this is why it's going to take a while. At least a month. Yeah. This is my first, it's going to be first lore. First official idealist lore. And so like there's a lot of things, so it's like I still need to make animations, I still need to make the custom chat stuff, I need to find a way to modify the chat stuff, and I need to make the things underneath the stream. Then I need to make I'm gonna say animation in quotations, because it's more or less gonna be voices and sounds over essentially like one frame every 3 seconds. You know what I mean? That's what type of genre would a pair cookie clicker with, because I'm making a game in Scratch and I wanted to do something different. What type of genre should I pair cookie clicker with? I always associate it with, oh gosh, what was the genre called? Where it's like, where you zone out. You know what I mean? Where it's like, it's the vibe kind of one, where it's to pass the time, it's low energy, it's relaxing, it's like Satisfactory is in this category. Cozy games, yeah. I would consider it a cozy game. Casual, yeah. Like it's a game where you would want to sit down, you want to have some mindless progress, let it reward the little dopamine parts in your brain, but it's like you relax with this game. Like you had a rough day, you just need to take your mind off things. I'm gonna play a game like this. Stardew Valley is cozy, but I would actually put a little bit, there's a lot that goes in, like timing and everything with Stardew Valley too. So it's definitely a cozy game, but Stardew Valley also feels like it can be not a cozy game, depending. If you want street names, I have plenty of taking free space in my head. All right, fire away, Starbeast. Or you can put it in the last call Discord if you don't want to say it here. I was saying shooter, where you can click the cookie to reload ammo. I mean, are you going to be clicking on things? If that's the case, then it might be a point and click. Because even shooter is kind of like progressed to a point. Hummingbird Drive. Make them all bird names. That's actually kind of good. Like shooters are now like FPS, where it's like first person shooters. But that's not what you're thinking. You're thinking these are just kind of like point and click kind of games. Almost like Flash games in a way. You know? So I guess it depends what the rest of the game is going to entail, right? Because I would say cozy if you're just clicking. If you're only clicking and that's all you're doing and there's nothing else, then, you know, cozy. But if you're doing other things, that's like the main gameplay loop, then I think you might need to look harder into that one. Mimic Lane is too on the nose. I will put my foot down on that one, Starbeast. We can have a Thing reference, though, like the movie The Thing. We can have that in there, but we're not making the Thing. I mean, the Mimic drive. Oh, no problem. And welcome to the stream, by the way. That one guy. I'm assuming that's how you want me to address you. Wow. I love the hill ones. Those are really funny. Gosh, I don't remember what we were talking about. Oh, we were talking about the project, where I still have a lot of work to put on it, and I've taken some steps to make it so I can work more on it on a day-to-day basis, because before I was essentially putting all my time into making short form videos and videos for y'all, but I've taken a step back to do that less often, to actually work on that project faster. You got LARP? Ooh, I hope you have fun. Let me know how it goes. And it's only the Sunday stream. I don't stream Saturday anyway. Those days are for me to work on other things. I've learned more and more that I use my off days just to work on other things. Especially if I want to get this project out, because y'all decided to get me 150 something follows in like 3 weeks. So like, okay, real talk, I was planning to have this project out before I reached affiliate, and then I was going to have the second project with emotes all ready to go for my affiliate stream. But no, y'all had to be so amazing and get me way beyond what I anticipated. So now all my projects are behind by like a lot. So appreciate that and love you all. Like, oh gosh. Yeah, I know, right? But no, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see how this turns out, guys. I think you're gonna love it. As long as I get everything to work. It's just, it may take a while. And I appreciate your patience. And I think the idea of channel points, have just like a channel point hole as like a temporary stop until that's set up for y'all. And then just do a leaderboard thing, and then just literally just take Mama Dodo and just make her golden and just throw that in as a badge. And then just have y'all fight over that spot, I think is a really good recommendation. So actually, let's do, I'm gonna add that. So like add new leaderboard for channel points, add new badge for first as a golden dodo. And it's literally just gonna be a fairly, I wouldn't say bad, but just like imposed picture of Mama Dodo golden as a badge. And maybe I'll do the same thing with the other leaderboards too, where y'all maybe the first in bits and the first in subs get like different dodos. You know what I mean? We probably won't have normal tiers. Or maybe maybe we can do gold. Well, I definitely want to do golden as one of them. But I also don't want to give the feeling of one is better than the other, because it's not. So I almost want to do golden dodo. But then if you are in multiple number one slots, you just have more than one. You just have double golden dodo. My God, he's got the triple golden dodo. It's actually kind of funny. just so not. Oh man, I might do that. That sounds like, and it's not lore specific. It's not lore accurate. I don't think we have to worry too much as far as being like, oh, I need a lore reason why there's a golden dodo in the badges. It's like, no. But yeah. Okay. I got definitely distracted. First by support, amazing support. Then by talking about my projects, and that's a really good way to get me distracted. And okay. All right. Okay. Let's snap back to reality. Oops, there goes gravity. Mom spaghetti. Okay. So, imposter spread. Also, Starbeast, these are good street names. But we will tell you what, when we get to the point where we're naming street names, we're gonna have a whole thing about it. All right. When we do the caller ID stuff, because as of right now, like when we go to the phone, there's gonna be caller ID on the bottom of the phone, and what is going to be on the caller ID is going to be the address of that location. Originally, I had it so you had to click on the house to send the location to, but I moved away from that. So, if I remember where we left off, it's the fact that doing the percentage, where it's just proximity percentage, makes it difficult on our end to manipulate that. Like, how would we even try? Even if we tried to manipulate the chance, like, it still would likely change. So I think it would probably be better to have a more rigid system with the illusion of a more chance-based system. And what do I mean by that? Well, the first thing that comes to mind is, have any of y'all played XCOM before? Because I have. And that game lies to you a lot. It's a meme in that game where you miss a 90% chance to hit. Like, if it's a 90% chance, that means it's not gonna go anywhere. Oh, thanks for the follow. Appreciate you, Evil. Evil? Yeah, Evil. Yes. Evil people love dodos. But no, what was I saying? Oh, ad break. Well, if there's ad break, how y'all doing? We're just gonna take a little bit of a breather while people return back from the ads. I wish there was a way for me to do I guess what I could do, it would be kind of funny, but also not funny. When ad break happens, I make my own ads. Just my own funny version of ads at the same time. It's like, welcome to Dodo News. Today, Dodo tried to learn how to fly. Police were on the scene. Like that kind of thing. It would be funny just because, like, it would be its own, like, thing, but also I would have to make so many of them in order for it not to feel repetitive. Oh man. But yeah. So hopefully y'all are having a good time and having a good day so far too. Because it is a beautiful day and it is a Friday. And with weekend around the corner, for me that means absolutely nothing. But for y'all that means everything. Actually, I think depending where you live, you may be already at the weekend. And welcome back. Now that you've returned back to Idealist Loses His Mind, collect the plants. You need a level 2 farm to have them collect the plants. But if basically what I was saying before is that if we did the percentage chance of proximity, then we would need. It would be really hard to kind of peel that back. Yeah, Xstar, I would rush to the tier 2 as fast as you can, so you're not having to deal with that. Oh, we were talking about XCOM and how it lies to you. Yeah, the meme is that you miss 90% hits, and that's because it's not really 90%. It's really like 60%, but the game tells you it's 90%. because it lies to you, because people are weird. And I don't mean, listen, they did that for good reason. I'm not saying they did that in a bad reason. There are reasons that why mods make it so it's more accurate. But so essentially, it kind of falls under a weird social psychology thing, similar to how was it called the J.C. Penney effect, if I remember correctly. If I could be, it could be a different store. My brain likes to switch things occasionally, but the J.C. Penney effect is where this guy, I think he was a CEO or something, and he was like, I'm going to make it so that we're going to have so much a better advantage more than any other store. I'm going to make it so that we have 0 sales, but all the prices are lower than they've ever been. Right? And people didn't buy anything. Because it was cheaper. Even because it was cheaper than any other store in the area, they still didn't buy anything. And do you know why? It is because the illusion of getting a discount is more appealing than the fact that it's actually less than to buy. I botched the last bit of that sentence, but y'all know what I'm talking about. So it's a weird human psychology thing where we are not logical beings. We are not. And part of this little kind of glitch in our matrix, in our brain matter, is percent chances don't feel like they are. A 60% chance doesn't feel like a 60% chance. A 50% chance doesn't feel like a 50% chance. I think it's funny that I named the god in the game or something. Meet the one who was basically unlocked, and when the door was where you go to the one where he waits, and then you offer tears to him, but I basically named him Dad. Oh, you named him Dad? That's really funny. I named him Chat for me, but I think you already knew that. So percent chance is another one of those weird glitches where if you lose a 50-50 like 5 times, it feels so shitty. Because you're just like, this is bullshit. How did I lose 5 times in a row when on a 50-50? This is cheating. And it's like, no, it's not. It's a 50-50 shot. You are equally likely to win than you are to lose. Is it less likely overall if they get the same one every time? Yeah. But at the same time, you had an equal chance. So a lot of 50-50s are more like 75-25s, 70-30s. Like, different game developers do it differently. And you need to find that sweet spot, right? So in this case, what we need to do is manipulate the... Not at all. I think I'm also sitting on like 6 god tiers. What we need to do is kind of mess with the percent chances and manually manipulate it in a way that it feels like there is a chance, because there is, without it feeling bad. So as much as I kind of dislike the idea of linking all the possibilities together, I also think it's the most that we can be in control and then allow us to go in and manipulate it accordingly and fine-tune things here and there. Because then we have situations where getting this allows multiple spreads and having this allows multiple spreads. We can have different locations to have different rules depending on what we give it versus just a percent chance of something going to it, etc. Right? And it's more proximity, because if it was just proximity and only proximity, then that means everything in this map is the exact same weight, and that isn't the case. None of these have the same weight. Well, not none, but a lot of these don't have the same weight. Does Julie give you the same thing because you know, like, the tablets? No, it doesn't. I mean, it's a chance. It's a different chance of that happening. For those that may not know, something that I occasionally like to mention in stream at least once or twice, I do have closed caption on. So if y'all want to use closed captions, you're more than welcome to. I wonder if I should add that as a tag in the stream. Is that a thing? Let's see. Closed captions. There we go. Let's do that. I apologize if that is not the way to go about it, but I want people to know that I use closed captions. Because people not being able to, like, people should be able to still enjoy the streams without hearing, you know? Offered, oh my god, here's 5 of them, got tablets. Well, time to make some decisions, Sexstar. Let's see. So if we're gonna do the connection route, let's think it through. Let's think through the connection route. We are going to, okay, from here we have these 3, and then here you have 1, 2, 3, 4. But this was already taken over, so we would need all the so what it would essentially code is it would be taken over, and then it will decide between the options. It would check to see if a condition is true. We'll have a true being like, we can say taken over. Like if the condition taken over is false, then it's an option for them to go to. When the condition taken over turns on, then it's no longer something they go back to, right? They don't double dip, right? This isn't you eating fries. This is, there's no one here to take over anymore. And then boom, 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 boom. They see this one, they can't do it. So it's either this one, or this one, or this one. No, just these 4. These 3. And then it goes to here. And then it's either this one, or this one. Right? And then it goes on and 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 on, etc. But how, I guess then it was like, okay, this gets taken over, and then these get taken over, then it goes down here, and then it goes, it's like here, here, or here. But then there's only one possible space where it could go, right? We want to not have that kind of thing. When it goes into this area, I also want to give the feeling where there's a lot. Like, is it really just one house at a time? Should we dive into the idea of how many do we want and when? Should we do that first before spread? Before how they go about spreading, should we determine how many that is spreading? Because it's definitely 1 in the beginning. But I also feel like, how many calls are we going to go? So I kind of like thinking of it going backwards, right? Going backwards in relation to the your coworkers leaving. So the way that those that may not know, the way that this is designed is you have coworkers. You have 4, at least. There might be more in the future. I don't really know. You have coworkers. And when any of them leave, your workload increases because there's less people to answer the phone. So you get more phone calls, which means you need to be more stringent with your resources, and then more people leave, and then it just builds. Like it's a quote unquote artificial jump in difficulty, right? And so what I want by the end game is it's only you and the one coworker who we deem as the ride or die. This is the one that stays with you until the end of the game. It's not just you until the very, very, very end. And by that point, you're taking 50% of the workload. I want 50% to be impossible to keep up. I want it when it's at 50% and you're taking 50% of the workload, you lose places. You lose calls. The calls go on to essentially a line of calls, like a hold please kind of deal. And then but it's too much to follow. I want that to be the tipping point of being too much. So when we're starting the design, we know where too much is, and then we can work backwards from there. 50% is too much. What about 33%? Because that's also another thing, is that as people leave, it gets a little harder, right? It gets a little harder, but it... One second. Let me make sure that this is on streamer mode. It is, but I'll still get in notifications on my things. Okay, well, whatever. It's fine. What was I saying? Crap. I keep on getting distracted. Crap. I totally lost my train of thought. We were talking about NPCs leaving. Oh yeah, right. Because think about it mathematically. You have 5 people working. So you're each taking 20% of the workload. Then one person leaves. You're now doing 25% of the workload. That's a 5% increase. Technically, it's like a 25% increase because 25% to 20 is 5. But we're ignoring that. We're not going into the percentage of the percentage here. We're just saying the difference between 25% and 20% and 5 is 5%. All right. Then another person leaves, so that it's just 3 of you. Now it's going from 25 to 33. Technically, it's 33.33 repeating, but whatever. But so that's an 8% increase. So now it's every single time you lose someone, you get more and more exponential work, or work exponentially. You have, because then it goes 33%, then to 50, right? Then it goes 17% up. You go from an 8% increase to a 17% increase. Yikes, right? So we need to kind of work backwards in the sense where 3 of you is just enough. You're barely hanging on with 3. And that's if everything's going well. So one second, guys. They're spamming the crap out of this. So I'm just going to go ahead and go to my notifications on my Discord. And no desktop notifications, please. We're just gonna do that. Yeah. No. There we go. All right. I am easily distracted today for whatever reason, so we don't need that on top of it. So if we're going to go backwards that way, we want 33% to be just enough where you're keeping up with it. So there is a line of people. So it's almost like 25%. If you're extra slow, then there may be a bit of a queue to do it. but the queue doesn't really start to kind of get out there until 33%. And then once you hit 50, people are, by the time you get to the queue, they're dead. There's no line anymore. And then we also have another potential problem, right? The other potential problem now is the fact that what happens when you get to the last few houses? Once you're down to like the last 4, 5, maybe 3 houses, you don't need to worry about it anymore. Or at least, like, all the other houses are dead. You still have the last 3 left. You can send the appropriate people to that location just fine. Or what if you get to the last house? The last house. Every other house is gone. It's the last house. You still have just enough policemen to cover that house. How does the game beat you then? Because the game is that it overwhelms you at the end, in that you don't have enough resources to cover everything. But just because you don't have the resources to cover everything doesn't mean that you are guaranteed to not have enough resources to cover something, or at least one thing, right? We don't want a situation where you have one house left, but they can't take it over because you managed to save at least 2 policemen to then keep that place protected. And they can't do anything. Right? They can't do anything about it. And there is now a stalemate in the game where you are forever guarding this house, and they're trying to take it, and then you're defending it, and you don't have to worry about any other house. You're not overwhelmed anymore. You're in control now. And nothing spells death for fear than being in control. So, how do we alleviate that from happening? Do we make it so that when the 50% hits, you start losing no matter what? Do we start breaking the rules? Because I feel like that would be frustrating. Because the end of the game then isn't the end of the game anymore. The end of the game is you losing your next to last person, and then now it's completely overwhelmed, and now the game cheats, and you just lose. At that point, we might as well just make it so you lose at that point. Right? Might as well lose. Cut the computer, not the real life computer, cut the computer off in the game, talk to your coworker one last time, and say your goodbyes. Because if the game's just going to cheat, then what's the point? Right? At least that's how my point of view is then. So I don't like the idea of the game cheating. I also don't like the fact that the game, there's a stalemate. We don't want stalemates. I do have a thought where, what if it's a per imposter basis? So originally, the idea of the resource management is that you add an additional policeman to the location if it's a mimic. That's the original, right? If it's a mimic, you send one more, cool, you chase them away. If you don't make that decision appropriately, everything that you send there dies. Unless you have a fire truck. If you have a fire truck, the fire truck acts as a second life, so to speak, where they're the first to die, thus allowing everyone else to live. So you use fire trucks when you're not 100% sure, and then when you lose them, you lose, quote unquote, your second life. And I think there's only going to be 2 fire trucks in the game, so technically you have 3 lives in the game, if you use it appropriately. As far as the loss of resources, right? And I'm using the term loss of resources interchangeably with emergency vehicles because the emergency vehicles are the resources. But I keep correcting myself because I don't want to give the impression that I'm not treating the emergency personnel as like respectfully, right? So what if it's a per policeman basis for each mimic, each imposter? Then when you're down to one house, it's not necessarily a stalemate. Not really. It could be a last stand situation where as the game continues to throw more and more of these things at you and you keep sending the good amount of personnel there, eventually the amount of imposters will overwhelm the amount of policemen you can send, thus killing them all. Right? It's a last stand mechanic, which is an interesting way of going about it. I feel like I bring FNAF up a little too much, but they also do that, don't they? When you run out of power and you're waiting for your death, there is a last stand mechanic in which the song plays as Freddy stands there, and you hope that you are close enough to the time in order for you to beat the game, versus the song that is played and hope that it overlaps to the point where you go to 6 a.m. before the song is finished playing. I would consider that as a last stand mechanic. In this case, it's I have however long you last in the last stand is dependent on how many policemen you lost up to this point. If you've lost any of them, then you don't last as long. I find that interesting, but I don't know how you would be able to tell if there's multiple. Maybe we can do with the radar thing that y'all mentioned previously, because then you'd be able to tell, right? You would be able to tell how many are there, so you can give extra policemen to a location that you know there's more than one. We could have mechanics where you ask them to say how many are there, and they'll be like, I don't know, like 3? Please confirm if it's 3, sir. Sir, I have to be very precise with how many people I send over to you. Please be specific. Is it 3? And then at that point, you would send 4 policemen, right? We could have something like that. But we haven't decided if we want the main character to talk back. Right? It's hard. Let's see. Let us see. Let us see. Okay. Boop. All right. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Oh man, my brain. It's too wrinkled. We may need to unwrinkle it a little bit. Look at me, I'm even yawning. Should we switch to something a little more less? It might be one of those. It might be one of those days where we don't go full on this. Let's see here. What can we do that's kind of... How can we smooth out the brain a little bit? Let's see. Engineer. What are we thinking? What are we doing with our lives? Did Lethal Company get another one? Oh no, okay, that was just an old one. Oh, Once Human. Pacific Drive. It's been a hot minute since we've done that. Power World, isn't that getting sued? Planet Crafter. We haven't done Planet Crafter in a hot minute. Potion Craft? Should we do some Potion Craft? That's kind of fun. Smack Studio was the game I was talking about for the animation stuff. Should we just do Potion Craft? That could be fun. Let's iron out our brain a little bit. Okie dokie. All right, let's see here. So what we're gonna do? What are we at? 231. Okay. 231. And then we are going to do some boom.